Who ever heard of that? And then if you look at the history of economics, there is not a single fiat currency that has lasted more than 64 years. Ours is the only exception, but here we are. You know, here we are. We are about to hit the wall next 18 months. So, again, it comes back to the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you want? What kind of a country do you want? Half of you don't even vote. You don't even register to vote. So, literally, you folks have taken yourself out of the game completely. Your attitude is, it doesn't count, it doesn't matter. Well, you know what? You're right. It doesn't matter because enough of you aren't participating to make the change. We have still the ability to make a dramatic change in this country and to change the direction. We can go to our state governments and say, okay, you need to withdraw your support for the federal government. You need to hold them accountable to the 10th Amendment. You have to remember that it was the states that created the federal government, not the other way around. Okay? That's what has to happen. We have to remind them who's in charge here. The citizens created the states created the government. Okay? It was a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Not for the government, not for private industry, not for the military-industrial complex. That was not it. That is nowhere in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence. None of that is in there. Okay? It was about us. And if we don't reclaim it back, we are going to lose the country. We're virtually there. In many intents and purposes, we have absolutely lost portions of our country. You know, who knows what's really going on? It's an absolute travesty. But instead of turning on each other, what we need to be doing is we need to unite. We need to come together with a very common, focused purpose, not rioting, not killing. None of that has to happen at all. It's a question of just restating to our state governments, we want change. We want you to rein in this government. And whatever it takes to do that, you do it. And you know, if all the 50 states got together, we could make this thing change right away. But that's what happens. Remember, the people created the state, and it was the states that created the federal government. It is not the other way around.
I want to know what involvement ETs played in Eisenhower losing control of the military-industrial complex.
I don't know that they had any. I don't know that they had any control at all, or they intervened in any way. They wouldn't necessarily have to. You have to understand that this was something. If you look at the times where we lived, you know, we had just finished World War II. We had the Korean War had just ended. And, you know, there was all this hype about the Soviets, the Soviets, the Soviets. So you had all these secrets, all this clandestine activity going on. And now, you know, here you have several crashes of Roswell, Socorro, probably some others that have occurred. And, you know, here we had all this technology. There had been the 54 meeting at what is now called Edwards. So there were a lot of things going on. You know, I don't know what all the actual mechanics were for how it just went black, but it went black. And probably whatever mechanism was in place that could classify these projects, or whatever group, let's hypothetically say Special Operations Coordinating Group within the National Security Council, all right? Let's say that they had the authority to classify these projects, these programs. Well, they classified it above and beyond anything that the president could ever reach. Right then and there, he would lose it. You know? And that's how it works. Is it a good system? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Are there some things that maybe we should have been told about it? Absolutely yes. Are there some things that maybe we shouldn't have been told? I'm absolutely open to the idea that there were, especially from what I've learned from the A's, that there were some things maybe people weren't ready for then. I think we're probably ready now for a lot more information, but now they don't want to give us any information. I mean, now we're getting more information outside the United States about what's going on than anywhere else. Even other governments are very, very open. And here we are, the center of this entire thing, and we're like being led down this dark hallway, or how did Leonard Stringfield put it? A hall of mirrors with a floor of quicksand. That's exactly what it's like. That's a perfect analogy for this fiasco that's going on. You know, here we are, reversed engineered this technology. Here the American people have paid for it, and we know less than anybody else about what's actually going on with it. It's just, you know, this isn't going to serve anybody. You know, and if you're in a poker game and you don't know who the patsy is, it's probably you. And that's exactly what's happening here. We're in a poker game, and we're the patsy. You know? And that's what I know about it.
Now, earlier you mentioned the program. Is that something that elected officials created, or is that something way above the elected officials, above the entrenched military officials? What is the program? It's kind of vague, just calling something the program. Be as specific as you can to explain what you mean by the program.
Well, it doesn't operate like a government. It operates like an agenda. Now, exactly what that agenda is, I can't honestly say. But let's just take a look at where we're at. We know this technology exists. We have people coming forward. Again, I'll make reference to the Disclosure Project and other civilian as well as military people coming forward. Even other extraterrestrial groups who have been making contact with citizens of Earth in other countries have been given information regarding the fact that there has been the reverse engineer of technology. The Germans were doing it, the Nazi Germans were doing it, the Russians have been doing it, the United States government has been doing it, but we don't hear anything about it. Okay? It's a program, and this program is essentially above civilian everyday life. You have Corso's book, you have the work of Colonel Wendell Stevens, and all of the research that he's done regarding this, and many, many other authors that are trying, you know, every day to put out more and more information and just, you know, banging on the door, pounding the walls to try to get people to understand what's been going on here. You know, and they deserve a wealth of credit for their tenacity and for continuing to do this work and to get it out. Like yourself, as a researcher, putting this information out, usually out of your own pocket. So many people have made so many sacrifices. They've lost relationships. Marriages have ended because of this focus on trying to bring humanity up to speed on what's going on with the program. So when we talk about the program is so far removed from everyday life on Earth that most people wouldn't even think it would exist. It could also be that the program really doesn't know anything about how we're existing at this point, because they're so removed from everyday life. They're tucked away in very secret places. They're in underground facilities. They're tucked away inside mountains. They don't have intercourse or exchange with everyday citizens in a very normal way anymore. They're secluded. They're sequestered. They hang out amongst themselves. They're detached from everyday humanity. So it's almost like you have two complete different realities here, operating within the same space, which in fact is true. So, you know, what is the program? I can't honestly tell you, Rick, what the agenda of the program is. But there's evidence that the program does in fact do things that not only protect America, but have also intervened. For an example, several weeks ago, there was an incident along the East Coast where many people along the East Coast, the eastern seaboard, saw a green flash of material flying through the sky and landing in the ocean. The backside on that is that a cargo ship somewhere in the Atlantic launched a missile